Everything changed in a matter of seconds. One single notification lights up millions of phones across the globe. And just like that, the entire balance of power in the National Football League is violently ripped apart and stitched back together in Los Angeles. Welcome to NFL Nexus. I'm your host, and today we are bringing you a full-scale explainer on the most earth-shattering, franchise-altering offseason move of the year. The Los Angeles Rams acquiring the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett, from the Cleveland Browns. We are going to completely deconstruct the exact mechanics of how this deal was forged in the shadows, the devastating cost it required, and the brilliant high-stakes front office maneuvering that made the impossible a reality. Before we descend into the madness, make sure you subscribe to NFL Nexus, hit that like button, and drop a comment below with your immediate thoughts on this trade. And if you really want to support our deep dives, consider becoming a channel member. Now, let's get into it. You know, a football trade is truly seismic when the shockwaves instantly breach the walls of other sports. The absolute second this news broke, basketball royalty took notice. LeBron James, arguably the single most powerful athletic figure in Los Angeles, immediately sent out a public welcome message to Garrett. This isn't just a fun piece of trivia. This grounds the trade in undeniable heavyweight cultural relevance. Los Angeles is a city built on stars. You don't just arrive, you have to be crowned. And when a move makes LeBron James stop everything and take to social media to acknowledge your arrival, you know you aren't just looking at a roster update. You're looking at a fundamental shift in the entire Los Angeles sports landscape. Section 1. A Hollywood blockbuster trade. Let's look at the sheer magnitude of the weapon Los Angeles just acquired. 23. Just let that number sink in for a moment. This isn't just a statistic. This towering number represents the absolute terror opposing quarterbacks felt during the 2025 season. Myles Garrett didn't just win Defensive Player of the Year, he completely obliterated the bounds of reality, racking up an NFL record 23 sacks in a single campaign. Every Sunday, he was a one-man wrecking crew, single-handedly dismantling offensive game plans before they even had a chance to unfold. That is the literal definition of a game wrecker. And here is the truly terrifying part for the rest of the NFC. 2025 wasn't a fluke. It wasn't a flash in the pan. This slide brilliantly illustrates the cold, hard resume of a first-ballot Hall of Famer. 125.5 career sacks. He led the entire league with a staggering 33 tackles for loss last season alone. He's a 5-time All-Pro, a former #1 overall pick who actually lived up to the legendary hype. This is exactly why the Rams were willing to move absolute mountains. They are pairing a generational defensive monster with Matthew Stafford to make one final violent push for a championship. They didn't just trade for a good player. They traded for the premier defensive force on the planet. Section 2. The price of greatness. But acquiring greatness is never cheap. Let's examine the staggering cost of doing business at this elite level. The Cleveland Browns did not just hand over the keys to their franchise. They demanded a king's ransom. Look at this breakdown. To acquire Garrett, Los Angeles had to rip away a piece of their own future, giving up young standout edge rusher Jared Verse. But they didn't stop there. They emptied the vault, surrendering a treasure trove of premium draft capital. A 2027 first-round pick, a second-round pick, and a third-round pick. The Browns have officially accelerated a massive ground-up rebuild by cashing in their most valuable asset. For the Rams, it is a staggering, breathtaking price to pay. It highlights just how unbelievably desperate this organization is to win right here, right now. There is no tomorrow in Los Angeles. But here is where the plot thickens. This is the crucial detail that makes this trade a complete anomaly. This is a rare 21st century blockbuster edge rusher trade that came with absolutely no immediate contract extension. Think about the modern NFL. When mega trades happen for elite pass rushers, think TJ Watt, Micah Parsons, guys who push the market to the absolute brink, the acquiring team immediately authorizes a top market extension to secure their new asset. The Rams didn't do that. They didn't hand him a brand new record-breaking piece of paper. This level of financial restraint is fascinating, incredibly risky, and goes completely against the grain of recent NFL history. Section 3. Reworking the mega deal. So, the ultimate question is, how did the Rams actually afford this without ripping up his original Cleveland contract? $204 million. That was the total 5-year value of Myles Garrett's mega deal in Cleveland. And guess what? That total remains exactly the same. No new years were magically added to the end of it. But the Rams front office, they are absolute wizards. They completely re-engineered the hidden mechanics of how this mountain of cash actually gets paid out. They had to make it work for their current salary cap reality while making absolutely sure Garrett felt respected and compensated. The magic trick lies right here in the restructure. Under his old deal, Garrett was scheduled to make $31.5 million in 2026. Under the new, reworked Los Angeles deal, he bumps up to $37 million. How? By converting option bonuses directly into signing bonuses. It is a surgical financial strategy, one they actually used with Matthew Stafford to great effect. The Rams essentially pulled future money forward. They handed Garrett an immediate, massive raise for the upcoming season without adding a single dollar to the total overall value of the contract. It is a masterstroke of cap manipulation. But you don't keep a superstar happy without long-term security. Let's look at the timeline. After that $37 million base pay bump in 2026, a colossal $62 million in injury guarantees will vest next year in 2027. That is the golden handcuff. That massive guarantee ensures this superstar is happily locked in for the foreseeable future, even without a traditional multi-year extension. It's the ultimate compromise. Garrett gets his guaranteed money, and the Rams avoid taking on a completely new, suffocating contract structure. Make no mistake, navigating this required absolute surgical precision. The Rams entered this transaction with just $18.29 million in available cap space. That is practically pennies when you're shopping for Defensive Players of the Year. They couldn't afford to just throw a new $50 million a year contract on the books. Why? Because Los Angeles is staring down the barrel of looming, incredibly lucrative extensions for their legendary 2023 draft class. We are talking about absolute standouts like Puka Nacua, Steve Avila, and Kobe Turner. You can't buy a new mansion if you can't afford to pay your current electric bill. By completely restructuring rather than extending, they kept Garrett at a top 5 edge market salary while maintaining just enough breathing room to eventually take care of their young homegrown talent. Section 4, LA's newest superstar. Because beyond the relentless spreadsheets and the cap gymnastics, there is a human element to this story that has completely electrified the city. And it revolves around this exact question. LeBron James is currently a 41-year-old entering free agency, and the entire city is holding its breath. Will the iconic basketball star stay in town to share the spotlight with LA's newest defensive monster? Nobody on Earth understands the intense transition from being a Cleveland megastar to a Los Angeles icon better than LeBron James, who made that exact earth-shaking jump back in 2018. The parallels are almost too perfect to ignore. And Myles Garrett? He is leaning right into the drama. During his highly anticipated introductory press conference, Garrett openly used his time at the microphone to pitch LeBron on staying. He confidently noted that they will surely have more conversations now, being in the same city. Garrett respects LeBron deeply, viewing him as a positive force and an advisor. The ultimate goal? To replicate the exact same championship magic LeBron brought to the Lakers when he arrived. Two kings from Cleveland, both trying to conquer Los Angeles. It's an unbelievable crossover storyline that has the entire sports world captivated. Section 5, Super Bowl or Bust. Which brings us to the immediate, cutthroat, high-stakes reality of the 2026 NFL season. The reality is crystal clear. The second this trade was finalized, the Los Angeles Rams instantly vaulted to become heavy Super Bowl favorites. Vegas shifted, the narrative shifted, everything changed. You simply do not mortgage your franchise's future. You don't trade a promising young star like Jared Verse, and you certainly don't surrender a 2027 first-round pick unless you genuinely, deeply believe you are lifting the Lombardi Trophy right now. This is the ultimate all-in maneuver. And consider the absolute perfect alignment of this goal and the location. Super Bowl LXI is scheduled for February 2027 in Inglewood, California, right inside the Rams' very own home stadium. History is echoing. Just like they did following the 2021 season, the Rams have boldly, unapologetically built a super team with one explicit, uncompromising goal: winning a world championship in their own backyard. They aren't just trying to make the playoffs. They are trying to write a Hollywood ending. This is the ultimate high-wire act in the ruthless business of professional sports. They have shoved every single chip they have to the absolute center of the table. So I leave you with this final, provocative thought to consider as we watch this season violently unfold. When February 2027 rolls around, will this monumental blockbuster be remembered as a front office masterclass that secured a hometown Super Bowl? Or will it go down in history as the reckless, desperate gamble that finally broke the franchise's future? The clock is ticking, and the pressure is unimaginable. Thank you for joining me on this explainer here on NFL Nexus. Don't forget to subscribe, like this explainer, drop a comment with your predictions, and become a channel member to support the most in-depth NFL content on the platform. It's going to be an unbelievable season. I'll see you next time.